I think on the things I work on, I have had these relationships longer than this term. And so that has made a real difference, that regardless of the numbers, frankly, or who's in the majority, we've been able to work together and to do things. I think it is, from my perspective, been more difficult to get the momentum on a number of things, particularly because Leader McConnell wants to be in the majority. And so he doesn't want a lot of accomplishments coming for President Biden or the slimmest majorities in the Senate. Now, we've been able to get past that. We had Secretary Buttigieg here, who's amazing, and talking about what we've done on transportation. But that was with a President Biden, majorities, Democrats, House and Senate, and luckily we had 19 colleagues, Republican colleagues, that joined us in the Senate.
Why can't we get common sense public safety rules around guns? I mean, I'm not here to advocate for one way or the other, but it seems like we're not doing enough in our schools. So how do you see a bill coming about, and do you think you'll be able to get 5, 10, 15 Republicans to go along with something that's common sense?
Well, you know, obviously I'm hopeful, and you've got to be hopeful. And I think we're seeing some signs of that happening now after these two horrific tragedies within just a few days apart. We now have a group talking. There are 5 Republicans part of that group. We'll need at least 10 in order to move that forward, but it has to start somewhere to build that kind of trust and come together. And I think what we have to do is step back and understand that there is no one thing that we can do that's going to correct all of this. That's going to take an awful lot. It's going to be a process where we're going to have to move forward and show some momentum and show some steps that we take to get there. And that both sides have to back off a little bit from folks who want us, the solution that will end up, or not the solution, I should say, the action that we'll take in the short run will be one that people think we should do a whole lot more are going to be unhappy about. But it's also the people who want to do absolutely nothing are also going to be unhappy about. It's moving forward.
I want to be clear. No one wants to see schools as a place of violence of any kind. That's why, frankly, there are gun-free zones at schools. That's why they always say, but here's the problem, people violate those, right? And none of us want to put kids in harm's way. Now, if you look at the rhetoric that's out there, that's not how people express themselves, right? So it's a little tough to come out of that corner when that's the parameters of the discussion. So beyond that, and I agree. My number one list, and my staff knows that I pound this incessantly, I hate window dressing. I hate things that make us feel good but don't actually get at root causes. And what I believe we have really missed the boat on, and not only in this particular issue about violence, but in a few other things, is we are missing the root causes of why our kids are acting this way.
I just want to believe, I have talked to a number of Republican senators, I've talked to many Republican House colleagues of bills, that there is some common ground that hopefully we will not all go to our corners as we all do. That's what happens every time there's a crisis. We go to our corners, we stand our ground, we get into test-run fights with each other, and we don't get anything done. And, you know, how many shootings do we have to see? How many children do we have to see shot? Every one of these massive shootings have been done by someone under 21 years of age. Can we not agree that we should not sell automatic weapons to someone under 21?
I do think doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results is the definition of insanity. And what we are doing every time we have one of these shootings is not working. Everyone goes to their corners, everyone shouts for 10 days, and then it goes out of the headlines, and then we wait for another shooting. And I'm the representative of Oxford, Michigan, where we just had our 6-month anniversary of our own school shooting. I gave a graduation speech at Oxford Virtual Academy the day after the shooting in Texas. Do you know what it is to talk to kids? A third of them didn't show up because they were scared to be in a public place. The shooting had just brought up all the emotion and trauma that they had experienced 6 months before. There is a group right now, Debbie and I are part of the Problem Solvers Caucus, We are working with a group of senators who are trying being the operative verb, to come up with something that we can agree on that will get 60 votes in the Senate. It won't be everything that I want. It will probably be more than some of my Republican colleagues wanted.
Give me a tangible example of what you would want that you don't think you're going to get much of, or something you may have to compromise on.
I mean, from the negotiations I've heard, there isn't an assault weapons ban in that conversation. There isn't sort of a whole series of things that we're looking at on the House side. But what there is universal background checks, red flag laws, things that the governor of Florida supports after Parkland, things that we can do when we're honest with ourselves about what's going on.